Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Migdalia Gomez, the Financial Education Services Specialist here at the Harvard University Employees Credit Union.
And I am Helen Lascaris, and I'm a loan officer here at the Harvard University Employees Credit Union.
Thank you, Helen, for joining us for another one of our home buying series. And today we're going to be talking about preparing to buy. So what are the steps when you're preparing to buy?
Well, when you're preparing to buy, the first thing you really need to nail down is how much do you qualify for? And there's two different ways you can do that. There's a pre-approval and what we call a pre-qualification. And I think to determine which is best for you, it would depend on when you're looking to buy. So if you're looking within a year, I would recommend a pre-approval. If you're looking further out than a year, I think a pre-qualification would be enough to give you the guidance you need.
Thank you. So because we're talking about preparing to buy, can you talk to us about the pre-approval, since that's the one closest to when you would be buying?
Pre-approval is a letter that's issued by your lender that provides the seller and the realtor with your qualification amount. So it would have on it your name, the loan amount you qualify for, the purchase price you qualify for, as well as the down payment and the product that you qualify for.
Okay, so we have the pre-approval. I know you mentioned that's the first step. What's afterwards?
After the pre-approval, what you would do is start looking at properties, and as you identify properties, we can tailor that pre-approval to the specific property that you may be offering on.
Okay. So when folks are preparing to buy, I know I have individuals that will come to me and maybe they're thinking about buying a car or making any other purchases. How does that fit in with the pre-approval and preparing to buy? Do you recommend people make purchases or hold off?
Oh, that's a tough question because when we do the pre-approval, we do factor in all your monthly debt payments on things like your car loans, student loans, personal loans. So the pre-approval factors in what we have on your credit report at that time. If you're looking to make changes, it may impact what you qualify for. So we always recommend, let's look at this with that new car payment or with that new loan you're thinking of taking out and see if you still qualify for the same amount. So you may want to think of it differently. You may want to put off the car purchase, or it may be fine to incorporate that in.
Okay, so it sounds like that's a good conversation to have with the mortgage loan expert before you possibly make that purchase.
Definitely. We much rather have that conversation before the purchase than after the purchase, because we don't want to let you know that you no longer qualify for what you wanted due to that purchase, when we could have avoided having any impact to the pre-approval letter.
Okay, so I know that for the pre-approval, the amount of debt that you have impacts it, but how about the savings, and how much should you save?
Well, of course, the more the better. The gold standard is 20%. So 20% is the ideal, 20% or more. But in this area, Migdalia, we have very few people that have that much for a down payment. So don't get discouraged if you don't. You can still purchase with, there's even a 0% down program, 3%, 5%, 10%. That's typically what we are seeing with our first-time home buyers.
And it makes sense. It's a very expensive market where we are.
Yes, it is.
Other than the down payment, what other expenses should folks plan to save for?
Well, there will be an attorney fee for your purchase and sale. There's closing costs. There's an inspection fee. There's an appraisal fee, which is part of the closing costs. So those are the things that people should factor in. Maybe I would say 1 to 2% of your loan amount as a ballpark. We have a calculator on our website for our loans, so someone could easily and quickly get an idea of what those costs would be.
Thank you. And our calculators are on our website, huecu.org/calculators. And what credit score do you need, Helen, as you're preparing to buy?
Okay, so I would answer that by saying the higher the better.
That's a theme with you so
yes,
far.
Yes. The minimum credit score we recommend is 620, but it will be a costlier process for you if you have that credit score. We would like to see everyone above 720. 760 plus would be a really good score to have, where you would get the best PMI rates if you have less than 20% down, and PMI is private mortgage insurance, and it's a required additional monthly payment, Migdalia, if you have less than 20% down. So especially if you're 6 months to a year away, there's no reason that you really couldn't get your credit boosted with different strategies, and Migdalia knows all about that and can advise you on
Yes, we have many different resources
Right.
that can help on our website and different presentations as well. And you all have access to Green Path Financial Wellness, and they provide help with helping our members improve their credit score. So you mentioned the credit score for buying as if I was buying by myself. What if I'm buying with a partner, a spouse, a friend?
Okay.
What credit score would we need as a team?
Okay, so if you're applying jointly, we will pull your credit and the joint applicant's credit, and we get credit from 3 credit bureaus, and we use the middle score
Okay.
for each person. And the lower of the 2 middle scores will be the score we use to review that loan. So we use TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and we'll use the middle. It could be a different bureau for each person because the scores can vary slightly.
Okay. Who are the people that are going to be a part of your team when you're purchasing a home?
Okay, so initially, before you actually identify the home, your mortgage loan originator and your realtor are going to be your key team members that will be assisting you. Once you have the home under agreement and accepted offer, then you will also require an attorney and an inspector as you go forward in your process.
Can we take those and break them up a little bit more? So what does a mortgage loan originator do?
Well, so the mortgage loan originator will be helping you get your mortgage application together, requesting the documentation that's needed, and working through with your realtor, with your attorney to coordinate the entire process to meet very important dates that have been set in your accepted offer.
And what does the realtor do?
So the realtor is a person that's really central in the process. So the realtor would be communicating a little bit with the mortgage loan originator, communicating with the inspector, letting the inspector in the property. The realtor also is mindful of the dates and is also working with the attorney that you select. And the realtor is sort of the central person that's involved in the whole process, sort of the spoke in the wheel, I would say.
Okay. So you mentioned the attorney. What is the attorney's role in the process?
So when you have an accepted offer, you need to then move forward to a purchase and sale agreement. First, you have the inspection to make sure that everything is as you expected and that you're going to go forward. And then an attorney will take all the information from the accepted offer and put it into a document called a purchase and sale agreement. The seller will have an attorney and you will have an attorney. And when you do sign that purchase and sale, it is a binding contract, and you will be putting down a deposit likely of 5% of the purchase price. So everything has to be in the purchase and sale, and it's a very serious contract once you get to that point.
Which understandably is why you want the lawyer to be a part of that.
Exactly. You want to make sure that your deposit is covered in the event of any issues with the transaction, that it's written in a way that's favorable to you and not just to the seller.
And I know I skipped ahead and I asked about the attorney before asking what does the inspector do and what's their process? And do you even need an inspector?
Well, that's a good question, Migdalia, because this past spring, with the market being as hot as it was, many people were waiving their inspection to make their offer more attractive to the seller.
Good or bad?
That is not something that we recommend, because you're making a very big investment, a very big purchase, and you want to know that the condition of the property is as you expected. So the inspector is someone who is going to turn the heat on, turn all the faucets on, check the roof, check the windows, going to really check all the systems in the home or condo, and just be sure that everything is in working order and maybe identify anything that isn't. And many times, if you find something unexpected, you can have 2 options. You might walk away and say, I don't want this property. You get your deposit back and you're out the inspection fee, which I estimate is around $500.
Okay. But it's better to be out $500 than
Right.
stuck in a property that you have to repair.
Right. And another option is, let's say you identify something that you didn't know about. You can go back to the seller and try and negotiate that. And that you would do that through your realtor. So as I said, the realtor is sort of in the middle of all of this. And the realtor would be on your behalf going back to the seller and either requesting a price reduction or whatever is, or repair of the items.
So it seems like preparing to buy, you need to have your finances obviously in order, have that good
Definitely.
saving, have the good credit score. You also try to minimize your debt, but you also need this team to help you with the process. And where would you find this team?
Well, you would find this team. I recommend, you can ask friends who have purchased properties. You can do online research in terms of, different lenders, realtors, even attorneys. And there's a lot of ratings on the internet. It's a good place to start. We also have our own recommendations if you're a member of the credit union that we'd be happy to share.
So it definitely seems like once you are preparing to buy and you're ready to move on, to build a team, ask friends, take advantage of your resources. Thank you so much, Helen. Another wealth of information for all of our community members. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.